live on the Virtual Grip Network, and I welcome you to my home state as we head into Pennsylvania for Week 17 of the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series. YesterYear, where past meets present. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, along with my partner in crime, John Hine. We're lucky enough to have the heartbeat of UGN bringing us all the sights and sounds, the one and only Ryan Seneca. Last week, the OBRL gang took a surprise stop in Nashville, and fans were not disappointed. In another showstopper that came down to the wire, we saw defending champion Josh Robinson powered by Courtney Nelson on the high side with 2 laps to go to take the checkered flag for the 3rd time this season. Josh now finds himself in a good spot as we inch closer to the OBRL playoffs, sitting P2. Luke Lane finds himself 16th with a 26-point lead over 17th Greg McDaniel for the final spot in the playoffs. While that may sound like a nice gap, but all it takes is a win from Greg or someone outside that top 16 to ruffle the Code Red machine and flatten out his season. If we go to the stats, though, it looks like it could be an easy win for our point leader, Dwayne MacArthur, who this season has an average finish of 3rd place. Or could that Code Red machine of Luke Lane possibly be the one that shocks the world as we head into the 2.5-mile tricky triangle here at the Pocono Raceway? Now, John, this place is one of the most unique tracks we'll come to this season. 3 corners with 3 different bankings, and the drivers are going to be scratching their heads all evening to try to figure out the best way around. Now, that being said, John, hopefully the drivers are listening, because I'm about to ask you, how do we survive the 2.5-mile monster that is Pocono?
Well, it's a tricky triangle because, well, the 3 corners here, each one of them are different. And actually, they're all modeled after real-world other tracks. You got one, I think turn 1 is based on the old Trenton, New Jersey. Turn 2 is modeled after Indianapolis. Turn 3 is after Ontario, Canada. Now, I may have got turns 1 and 3, but I know that I'm pretty sure those are the 3 tracks that this thing's modeled after. And, you know, sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice in one area to be good in the another area here. And Zach, I'll tell you, you know what? Shifting's going to help that. I was out there a little bit earlier. I was shifting down in turn 1, shifting back up into 5th down the backstretch, towards the end of the backstretch, shifting back down into turn 2, and then staying in 4th all the way through turn 3. And then once I got back to the front stretch, I was not back in 5th gear until just past the flag stand. So, you know, that shifting is really where some guys are going to make up some time. If you shift too early, you know what, that might cause you on the stopwatch. You shift too late, you're probably going to overdrive the corner, and that's really going to, you know, hurt you on the stopwatch. And Zach, we probably should give a shout out to, you know, VGN. They didn't book us in one of those honeymoon suites, you know, where we had to share a room with one of those shaky beds. So I think it's going to be a good night, right?
Yeah, the boss man decided to, you know, foot the bill for that. We appreciate it, and you know, us each getting our own bed is a nice change for a week.
Well, not a nice change. It's not happening. But wheels have come off early. Wheels have come off early at Pocono. But you know what? This is going to be a good track.
Boss under the bus, you know, just stating
that.
That's all.
That's see. But yeah, you know what? These guys, I can't wait to see it because, you know, we talked about the shifting, and that shifting can also create passing opportunities because as you come out of turn 3, if you have shifted right and you get a good run through there, you can come up through the gears and get a good run on somebody down the front stretch, setting up the pass into 1. Same thing out of turn 2. You shift right, getting into 1. It's going to really keep your momentum up for you to get a good run down the backstretch here.
Well, and now here normally we bring up the points, but nothing's really changed since last week. I touched on it a little bit. And John, I think this is a little more important. We normally don't talk about it too much because, well, we're not watching it here, but how important is qualifying, man, at Pocono? Because I spoke to you a little bit about, I've been doing a lot of official racing this week. Man, it's difficult to pass after those first couple laps, and I think qualifying is going to mean a lot tonight.
Yeah, I don't know that passing is going to be impossible. I think it's going to be a little more difficult, but qualifying, to answer your question, I think is really important here for no other reason that this is a track where people can get spread out, especially if we have green flag pit stops, which I think there's a high likelihood here. So, you know, if you get spread out, if you got a good car, but the leader's half a track in front of you, well, 2.5 miles. I mean, that means they're almost over a mile down the road. That's a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, and I mean, we do expect definitely. I mean, 85 laps. I expect maybe one long green flag run here, but going to be a little more difficult to go a lap down. So if you're struggling, this may be a track that might favor you a little bit if you can get that lucky caution. But John, it looks like qualifying has come to a close, and we're going to be able to take a look here at the starting grid. And it is Courtney Nelson on the pole. To the outside, the trash man, Daniel Hill.
Josh Robinson and Dwayne MacArthur are going to occupy row number 2.
Greg McDaniel on the inside of row 3. To the outside, Tom Ogle.
Bob Fillenbaum and Clay Walker next to.
Sean Foltz on the inside of row 5. To the outside, Jerry Isaacs.
And the first car out of the top 10 is going to be number 9 of Brian Lynch. He'll start 11th, and next to him will be the number 92 of James Hislop.
Grandpa, Dakota Pishka to the inside of row 7 to the top shelf, Andy Thomas.
Orange Child and a new name that I don't recognize, Wayne Hufford, is going to start 16th.
Yeah, and Wayne, he had a quick practice time, so keep an eye out on that guy. He's going to be a guy to watch out for. As Chris Bates lines up on the inside of row 9 to the outside, Lee Worsdell.
And rounding out your top 20 will be the number 24 of Brian Lindsay in the 19 and Roger Hurley in the 20th spot.
Tommy Embassy lines up on the inside of row 11 to the outside, Patrick Martindale.
Victor Lane and Andrew Medlin are going to occupy row number 12.
Scott Negus occupies the inside of row 13 to the outside, Kelvin Mosier.
Mark Morissette and Alan Wanamaker are going to roll off 27th and 28th.
Bill Martin on the inside of row 15 to the outside, Robert Gorisco.
42nd will be the Daytona winner, Mark Fish. Next to him will be Michael Dow. And here's a note, rounding out your field, starting shotgun is going to be Luke Lane. But we do have some EOL, Zach. We've actually got a few of them here. Luke has got one, Alan Wanamaker, Kevin Nasur, Scott Negus, Robert Crisco, and Mark Morissette. They are all going to the rear.
Well, I mean, we mentioned big racetracks, so if you got to start in the back somewhere, maybe this is the place to do it. John, some of these guys probably watched a little bit of the Cup race earlier today, and you could see how important draft was throughout that race. So I think, if you're in the back, you don't overdrive those tires. I think this is a track where you can make up some position if you do it the smart way.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just make sure you're taking care of your equipment. I mean, this is only the second race for these guys, too, since the iRacing build with the new tire model. So, they're still trying to feel out what can these tires do? How far can you push them? How long can you push them? They're looking for more answers today to build that data bank, so once we get to the chase, maybe guys got their heads wrapped around this tire model.
I would be thinking here, John, if we do get this chance to stay green, 85 laps, is this doable in one stop? I would think it is. No? Okay. All right. I didn't know if we could get to that 45 lap mark on a tank of gas or not, but probably going to be a 2-stop then, according to my partner here. We roll through 3 for the final time. We'll watch the pace car dive off, and we're about to go play up here in the sticks. In PA, the Pocono Raceway, 85 laps. The green flag's high. She's ready to fly. Good jump there for Courtney Nelson, and we're off. Daniel Hill, he gets some good run there on the outside. McCarthy can get to him, maybe give him a shove. John, is the outside possibly where we want to be through turn 1?
Yeah, because you'll get a great run off of turn 2 if you hit your marks all correctly through the corner. Don't overdrive the corner. You're going to be in a good spot coming out of 2.
And that's exactly what we're seeing. Nelson can't float up the racetrack. Daniel Hill takes the lead here. Quick work, but I think we've seen it before. Courtney Nelson knows. John, lap 1, that ain't going to pay nothing. You just stay close. Don't let that guy get too far out ahead.
Yeah, you know what? Give a spot up or two, protect your equipment, and you know what? Your equipment will be nice to you towards the end of the run, and you probably get those spots back pretty easily.
And you see, battling, that's Crisco on the outside. Can't tell who's on the inside there. I believe that's a 30 of Bomb Fellenbaum, and I lied. That wasn't Crisco. That was the 92. Fellenbaum, he's running a red and white car on me this week. I'm not used to that one.
Yeah, and there's single file through the whole field until you get to where like Luke Lane and Garisco and all of those guys are. They are still side by side duking it out for those spots.
And you know, I don't want to jinx him here, John, but you mentioned he had an EOL, and I mentioned in my opening, you keep an eye out on this guy, Luke Lane. He's been showing speed. He's been really growing. John, up 8 spots already here, that Code Red machine. I mean, got to go get it while you got fresh rubber.
Yeah, Luke's downfall has been, he's been really, really fast, so that's great. That shows that, hey, he can get that car and get the job done. But his downfall has been using up those tires a little too early and really suffering at the end of runs. We've seen him a couple times start falling back towards the end of those runs. And, he kind of taps the wall a little bit there, but looks like those guys are getting situated back there now.
Okay, you boys got a copy.
Gotcha, Zach.
Yep, I was having a little bit of internet issues. Everything was skipping, but I think we are back to normal. It didn't kick me out. Sorry about the pause there. I was watching Crisco kind of work into the inside on my screen when everybody was blanking out there. He was working on the Daytona 500 winner, but you can see out front, same old story, man. The trash man trying to milk that lead, but kind of what's surprising, John, those top two pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, well, that goes back to the draft. If you just get nose to tail and work with each other, you can draft away from them, draft away from the pack, especially when, they're within line now. I suspect that the rest of those cars will probably pull them in. But, yeah, if those guys get to racing behind those two, they will drive away with no problem.
You're watching the 104. I believe that's Andrew Medlin taking a peek on the inside. It is. That's Torrance Childs on the outside. And, Brian Lindsay right behind him in that 24 machine, John, maybe looking to get them both here. Now he's going to take a peek on the outside. He's got that big run off of 1 that we talked about. Maybe you don't want to be on the outside, though, there going through the tunnel turn. It's a little bumpy, a little risky.
Yeah, it's a lot risky. It'd be really easy to lose the back end, and if you don't lose the back end, you're going to probably shove the nose right off the car, and then that's going to hurt your front, and which basically turns the car. You need those front tires. Yeah, these guys are really battling here, Zach. Same
yes,
group with
Mark
Fish and Lane, and
yeah, and
they're giving each other room, though.
No, and not to go at Luke Lane here, but if you're that 42 machine, John, you won the first race of the season. You're in the playoffs, so you can go 3 wide this early.
It looks like Fish is battling out too. I think Fish is like, yep, I see nothing good happening here.
No, and I noticed. I'm not too sure what happened to him, but 25 seconds behind the field, Kelvin Motion, he must have had a scare. It doesn't look like there's any damage on that race car. But he is way off the pace, and John, he is begging for a caution, but I don't know if we're going to get one. You mentioned long green flags runs here. I mean, it's just known for it. And with the talent in this league, oh, man, I think we're going to go 85 green.
Yeah, and he's about half a lap behind him. So, I mean, the nice thing for Kelvin is it's still going to take a while before those leaders get to him. If we were somewhere like a Bristol or even on Atlanta or something where, they're ripping around those tracks, yeah, they'll catch him pretty quick. But, the one thing that he is going to have working against him, though, is he doesn't have anybody to draft with.
John, the man who we said, we believe it's his first race here with us, that was Wayne Hufford, who had just gotten the pass done over Andy Thomas. Can't tell who's getting bent out of shape right there. Torrance Childs in the 73, maybe had a little help from Medlin, but he's all good now, and it looks like Courtney Nelson, John, maybe doesn't want to play second fiddle here anymore. He wants to win the race a little bit. He's getting closer.
Yeah, and there's some benefit to being out in the lead. You got clean air. You're not using those front tires up, because you get an aero push behind the other car, though. And also, you know what? If those two are working together, I can't remember if they're teammates or not. you know, you got to watch your engine temperatures. You know what? If you go behind somebody and you stay behind them, you know, for an extended period of time, you will overheat your car. So you've got to kind of peek your nose out a little bit and get some air on that engine to get it to cool down.
No, and John, you know, we've never really had to talk about it before, and this really is an ignorant question from me. I truly don't know the answer. With his new tire update, you know, isn't it that much more important to kind of just get the nose in front air or in clean air to kind of cool down those tires a little faster? I think that's important now too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything you can do not to, you know, increase wear on your tires, and getting clean air is a big way to do that.
You saw Bill Martin get a little loose there on the bottom of that Diet Mountain Dew machine. Couldn't get by Crisco. He holds on. Single file all around the racetrack. It's one of those places where, you know, it's really momentum based, John. You're kind of setting that pass up a corner or two before you actually make it. Would you agree?
I do, but I'll tell you this, you know, everybody's got grip. I went out there and I was surprised the level of grip that we did have. But I'm going to bet about lap 15 to 20, you're going to start seeing that grip go away. And that's when I think you're going to start seeing some guys, you know, starting to fall back, moving forward, and you're going to see a lot of passing at that point.
And Courtney tried to play in the deep waters there, coming out of 3. He tried to go way low, but just couldn't find the grip. He's going to fall back up in line here with the Trashman. But Courtney definitely, I mean, this is almost exactly what we saw in the NASCAR race today. You could get to the guy, but man, if you can't complete the pass on corner exit, it is going to be tough sledding. And Courtney's going to need a big run and possibly, John, what we like to use on the dirt side, maybe a little slide job.
Yeah, but a slide job at 180, 190 mile an hour is a little nerve-wracking, and you definitely use your tires up if you go that route.
You see there, I believe that's Crisco still working to the bottom. It is. Now we got Roger Hurley and I believe Andrew Medlin. They're running in the 104. We got Lee Wursdale in the 99. But right now, Andrew Medlin, you know, Ryan kind of had him on the screen earlier a little bit. Up 7 spots, John. He is that hard charger now. We mentioned Luke earlier. He's kind of fallen back a little bit. It's stalled out to 5 spots. But Medlin, he was a guy, we've seen him be quick at a couple racetracks, but just some unfortunate luck, a couple wrecks. Might be a guy we got to keep our eye on here as we go green. With that 104 number, you know the disadvantage, John. He's got to start in the back.
Yeah, I've got a couple starts with these guys, and yeah, you definitely makes your night a little bit harder. But you know what? That's a good way to do things. Put the new guys back there. You know, let them get accustomed to the league and how guys race in the league. I actually think that's a wonderful rule, to be honest with you. But yeah, as a newbie, a little bit difficult.
See there, I believe Sean Foltz there in the 59. I wanted to call him Courtney Nelson there. Sean's another one who, up and down season, John. It seems like when he puts it all together, there he is on the podium. But then, man, he can have some rough ones. Some guys spinning in front of him. I believe we saw him get a little loose battling for the lead a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's been an up and down ride for that 59. But the horses. There's Courtney. Is he thinking about or not? Oh man, here I do it. No, that is Courtney Nelson. There we go. Courtney thought about taking a peek there, but John, we mentioned through turn 2, I don't know, you know, I think that's going to be your last resort corner. You're going to go for it if you have to, but that's probably the unsafest corner we're going to have here.
Yeah, because you're right on the razor's edge there. You're carrying more speed through there than you do the other turns. But we got a pass down here for Tom Ogle and the 23 of Robinson.
Yeah, Ogle looking to the inside. Can't get the other one here as Dwayne's a little too far up the road. But I mentioned Dwayne, John, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due. You know, you mentioned their awesome stat page. So that add-in was there at the end. And Dwayne MacArthur with an average finish of 3rd. I mean, that was through 12 races, John. What more can you ask than that?
Yeah, well, to get that average finish, there's a lot of ones as your finishing position there. So that definitely helps the old average.
As we go right
battle for
down
the
on the
lead.
yellow line. Yeah, we do. Courtney thinking about it here.
I think Courtney is just running or rolling the center of the corner a little better than Hill and just making a little ground. But I haven't seen Tyler Courtney. I haven't seen Courtney Nelson really force the issue at all. I think he's just rolling. He can get through the corner a little bit better than what Hill can, but doesn't seem too interested. I don't want to say interested, but just really not going to push it right now.
Andrew Medlin is pushing it. He's trying to pick another one off here as he dives low on Dakota Pishka, but Pishka with a big run off the top shelf. That 4 not going to go easy here, John. Side by side going into the tunnel turn. Hold on. Gonna bail out up top. That's probably the smart move there for Pishka. Is now Hislop taking a peek, I believe, on Jerry Isaacs in the 51. Isaacs, that man, he didn't bring up the points, but he's pretty comfortably in, John. I mean, doesn't have the win this season, but I believe the margin was 162 points. And, you know, I think if you're Jerry at this point, obviously you want to win. But if you can keep racking up these top 10s, man, what a season for him so far.
Yeah, he's been extremely consistent, and that's put him in the position he's in. And, you know, he keeps doing those things. I mean, he keeps knocking down top 5s like what he does.
Oh, we caught a wreck. Ryan had a feeling. Sorry to interrupt you, John. He had it live on camera. Couldn't tell who got loose there. I believe it was Brian Lindsay. Came up and got into Scott Negus. Nowhere to go. And, man, they came back down the racetrack, John. You see the Daytona 500 winner involved there. We have the 93 of Patrick Martindale. Oh, sorry to cut you off, John, but that was a big one.
Oh, yeah, there's some big hits there involved in that one.
Oh, was that Robert Gorisco possibly that got a big piece of that? Is he this white machine that comes in next? I mean, that's a big shot right here. He tries to go low, but they go low, and you can see it. That thing gets air. That's a big shot. Lots of cars going to get tore up.
Yeah, now Lindsay just got loose and was trying to collect it, and the car just snapped right back to the outside wall there. The front tires gained grip, and just, wow, big wreck here.
Now, we don't ever get, I shouldn't say ever, but it's not very often that we get cautions in here and get a chance to interview these guys. So let's see here.
Let's see if they come to pit road first.
That's what I was going to say. Let's see if they drive past pit road here.
Because I think they may come in. I mean, you know, 2.5 mile track. You may be able to at the very least, you'd be able to one stop it from here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. But let's see, where is Alan Wanamaker right now? He's 22nd. Is he going to stay out and get this lap? Let's see if anybody beats him to it. That's a little game I like to play. Alan is going to get that bonus point.
You know, that strategy, he gets into the playoffs by a point if he doesn't win. And Allen's, you know, there's a good chance Allen might get a win. So, but, yeah, people are going to, you know, cut him some slack. But, yeah, they're all coming in, Zach.
Yeah, and, you know, what a job by Daniel Hill. So look at the gamesmanship there, John. You probably noticed it.
Yep.
Sped up real quick before going into pits and slowed down. I mean, he is in no danger of losing P1 here if he gets in and out of his box correctly. That is that's next level.
He created some separation as they hit pit road because the second place car there can't just speed up on pit road to catch him. And when he created that gap, he got to keep that gap.
No, and I'm seeing Tom Ogle. He had to back up. Tom Ogle is he just now jacked the right side up. This is going to slow him down. Greg McDaniel overshot his pit.
Yeah, he is going to lose a lot.
That is not going to be what they want to see here. Tom's still sitting still here, John. That is, oh, man, he's going to lose 6, maybe up to 10
Greg
spots.
McDaniel had a great pit stop. He jumped a bunch of spots.
Yeah, and if we watch, he's one of the guys who I said kind of overshot that pit. I'm wondering if he got tires here because I definitely saw him reverse in that yellow machine. So, dang, that's just a good in and out there for Greg. But all right, John, plenty of time here. Who's the victim?
Heck, why don't we pull the leader in, man? He's the one that's got the clearest view, and Probably could tell us a little bit more about the fuel.
Yeah, let's do it. We got him up here. Hey, Daniel, man, it looks like you're hauling the trash right now, man. You're up front. How you feeling, brother?
Feeling pretty good. Courtney's got my mirror full, so it's you know, it's gonna be tough keeping him behind me.
Now, that being said, you know, how do we get defensive? Do you think you want to control that middle top, or are you worried about giving up the bottom? How do we play this thing?
The way I look at it, you're gonna have to pass me on the bottom. If you want it, you're gonna have to take it from the bottom. I'm not letting you have your full exit. So the only thing I can do is try to take away their exit speed, and by doing that, I'm gonna let them have the bottom if they want it.
What do we got for him, John?
Hey, Dan, you guys just made a pit stop here. We're about 17 laps in. The lights are out here, but can you do it on one more stop, or are you gonna have to make two stops here to get to the end?
We should have about 4 or 5 laps to the good for a single stop, so we should be good for one more stop, and that's it.
All right, my friend. Well, you know what? Keep your foot down and keep your eyes out the front window there, and go get them.
Yeah, appreciate it, bud.
Yep, that's Daniel Hill there, and he's got the con. He's in control here, so we're going to see how he does here the rest of this race, and he is sitting in a pretty good spot. He's got a good strategy too.
Well, hopefully I fortunately sound a little different here. My broadcast partner warned me that you could kind of hear me breathing. Sorry about the unprofessionalism. Trying to mess around with some mic settings here. But,
well, Zach, something about what Dan said. You know, he said he's only going to give them the bottom so he can pinch them, you know, down a little bit and break their momentum on corner exit. Not only does it break their momentum, which really, you know, doesn't allow them to complete the pass, it means that they've got to put more wheel in it, not to drift out, and it also gets them to use up their right side tires.
Yeah, definitely. But at what point, John, I know, you know, clean league, one of the cleanest we've ever seen, but, you know, you're putting a lot of trust on that guy on the inside of you, aren't you?
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know that there's anybody in this league that I've seen that I wouldn't trust on the inside. These guys are pretty good. Even when I've raced them, you know, those guys, they know how to hold a line.
I just got to be the one to play devil's advocate, you know.
No, I know. And that's, you know what? 999 of 1,000 leagues, that's a genuine worry.
What a camera angle. Look at that pretty green flag high in the air, getting ready to drop down. Daniel drops that hammer. We're back underway. And looky who, John, the General Dwayne MacArthur with a good jump on the inside of row 2. He's already battling for second.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, I think it's been a couple of races since he's won, so I'm guessing that he's probably thinking he's in a big slump and needs to get going.
Gonna cast that reel out there, see what he can find. Let's see, does he stay underneath the 78 here? He's gonna baby it in, but he left the door open. Oh, he got on the binders though. Smart move. That was a close call, but Dwayne knows, hey, window not open yet.
And that is why you don't mind letting people get to your inside, because you know guys are going to make good decisions like that.
Now, Andrew Medlin, I don't want to keep highlighting this 104, but I'm going to if he keeps driving like this. Up 12 spots already, up to 12th. Here he comes looking for a little more on the bottom here as we go down the front stretch. But now, John, everybody in front of him got in line. He's stuck down there all by himself.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty difficult to get a run on anybody as everybody's getting pulled by the guy in front of him down the straightaway. But, you know, we saw on those pit stops, Tom Ogle had an issue, and now he's right in front of Medlin. He's all the way back to 10th, and I think he came in running, what, a third, fourth or 5th. So big consequences there to that pit stop.
You know, and you can see that purple car check up in front of him. That was Tom Ogle. Tom playing this really smart. I like it. You know, he's, what do they say, John? Slow in, fast out. That is exactly what I'm seeing out of this 11 car. He is picking up the throttle so early, and that thing looks like it's glued to the racetrack.
Yeah, and, you know, he's smart about this. You know, he's not trying to get it all back in one shot. He just knows, hey, one at a time. There's a long way to go in this race yet, so he's got plenty of time.
Yeah, definitely. 66 laps to go here, but the battle up front, just as close as it's been here. Courtney Nelson right there. And Daniel said, I mean, he's been giving him a mirror full, you know, John. You're supposed to look out that windshield, but man, when that guy is behind you and he is coming like that, it really kind of ruffles those feathers.
Yeah, and I know it's instinctive to glance up at the mirror, see what's going on, but boy, if you really can focus, it's almost like on dirt. You take the mirrors out, and you're not worried about the guy behind you. You're only worried about hitting your marks, and that's almost what you got to do when you got somebody filling your mirror up here.
So he's going to invite him downstairs here, but that run off the top shelf is just too much. And now Daniel, you know, he has the advantage of that big run, I'd say, off the top shelf until about right here. That's kind of when the draft's going to equal out. Nelson going to pull back at it. You see it on the relative. He goes right back downstairs. And, I mean, to each their own, John. And I think, you know, maybe a little harder on the tires, but at the same time, I think Courtney's doing what he has to do. And we've mentioned multiple times since this update, you need that clean air. And I think if he goes the high side, runs behind, it's just going to push too much dirty air.
Yeah, the marbles and everything here, because that's another thing of iRacing, you know, just like the real life. If you're not running up there, and a lot of guys aren't running, you know, that high, well, you're not going to have any grip up high. But right here, I mean, you look at this, I mean, the door is wide open, and Courtney just can't get there on corner exit.
No, and that's, oh man, it hurts you so bad. You know, you got a quick race car, but if you power it up too early and you let it float up the racetrack, you know Daniel's there. You're not going to move him out of the way, not after the great battles we've seen throughout them this season. Courtney now just kind of hoping he can get close enough, maybe take a little air off that 7 when they come off the corner, loosen him up a little bit. See the boss man, Victor Lane. John trying to work under his son, Luke Lane, in that Code Red machine. But Luke, another guy, up 12 spots so far. Now he's got that thing up to 21st. Luke hopefully has that thing heading in the right direction.
Oh, we got one turning around into the wall. The 18.
Chris,
or no, that wasn't 18.
Chris Bates in the 81 going
81.
through the tunnel turn here. And he gets a little bit of help, we're going to see, from the Barney machine.
He got turned around and the 18 became 8, or 81 became 18.
Mark Morris said, I don't know if that's a name that we've seen before.
That's a newer guy, but he wildly overdrives that turn there, and and Bates is a guy that really was needing a good finish. He's had a rough couple of weeks, and yowzers. No,
and I mean, not that it's any consolation here, but Bates, I mean, right there, it doesn't look like too much damage, John, but if we watch, there's going to be a car coming up off the high side, and he gets hit one more time. That was the one I think that really kind of sealed the deal. We're going to probably bend that axle a little bit.
Yeah, Morris said it took him to the pits. It looks like he got a lot of damage at the front of his machine.
Well, you know, we just pit a couple laps ago, John. Is there any thought coming down pit road again? I mean, you wouldn't think we're not going to make it here from one stop. So I would think unless you're really struggling and need new tires, you're probably going to stay out there.
Yeah, I would think you're going to stay out here at this point.
Let's go ahead. I'm gonna make a call on this one. Let's talk to Greg McDaniel here if they go by. Hang on here, Ryan. Hang on. I just want to make sure because, Greg, if he's going down pit road, we'll send you back. Oh, you're bluffing. You're bluffing, Greg. I like it, man.
I bluffed.
There.
Actually, that was Dwayne's idea.
That's probably smart because you got to think, man. You're not going to be able to one stop at from here, right?
Nope, we got a ways to go yet for one more stop.
Well, Greg, you know, you've got yourself in the top 5. You got teammates around you. I mean, how good we feeling? Pocono's one of those tracks, you know, not like any other ones. Do we like this place?
I do, and I actually kind of gotten out of the swing of things, but I actually ran some public races this week and actually practiced, so I'm comfortable here. I did more so in the open cars than fixed cars, but I ran some fixed stuff, and no, you gotta be super patient. You can't overdrive the car at all. So that's why everybody's just kind of up front here. Everybody's happy to get in line and ride, because otherwise it's it's just too. You can't push the car at all.
What do we got for him, John?
Hey, Greg, you know, you're talking about overdriving. You know, this is the second week now on this new tire model. You know, how much data have you collected in your mind, and what you can do with these tires? How long can you push them? How long they last?
They last longer, but you can't push them as hard, or they will probably not last at all. You can't abuse them at all. So I'm just trying to stay lower on my exits in the corners, and I just don't want to feel the front end push at all. I don't mind the back end sliding around a little, but I don't want the fronts pushing at all, or you're going to pay for it 5 or 10 laps later if you keep doing it.
I like what I hear there, Greg. Loose is fast. You slide that thing a little bit, but don't make that right front angry. We wish you the best of luck, man. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
All right, thanks, guys.
Well, John, I mean, if he can drive that thing how he was talking to us, that's the dream. That's how you want that thing to handle. You know, gas it up a little bit, help the car rotate. You want it to be a little loose, I think.
Yeah, and that's, you know, when I was out taking laps with these guys, you know, that's the thing I did feel. He's dead on. You overdrive in it, and it's really easy to do because you're carrying so much speed at the end of these long straightaways. You get down there, and if you miss it, I'm talking even by, you know, 50 feet, you're not going to make the corner very well, and you're really going to slide the front end to do so.
Now, John, this is a real, I'm trying to steal information out of your question, too. If you plan on going on a long run, does that mean we're braking a little bit harder there on the corner entry to save the tire, or are we going to lift out of the throttle a little earlier?
We're gonna lift, at least for me, I'm going to lift out of the throttle a little bit more and just try to get the car to roll naturally. Using the brake, that means you're still overdriving a little bit more because you're trying to get the car wound up and you're still putting stress into that tire. So definitely, I think it's lifting early. You know, that in like a lamb and out like a lion philosophy.
Let's see. Hopefully that Cartoon Network machine, man, can get it up on that top step. No offense to anybody else, but it would be nice to see Greg plug one off. We're rooting for you here, Greg, but plenty of time to go. Got to keep it straight here. And there's another one, John. I mean, Jerry Isaacs, we talked about him running in the top 10 pretty frequently. Well, he's up to 6th. I mean, that's another guy who we said probably in on points, but who wouldn't want to win next to the name?
Yeah, and he's almost getting to the point, too, where he's going to be safely locked in and he can just go for wins and not really have to worry about the points.
So we roll off a 3 here, double file. The pace car set to pull off. The green flag is set to wave here at the Pocono Raceway. 60 laps to go this time by. The jump there for Daniel Hill once again can go up and kind of give whoever he wants draft. Going to leave MacArthur down there all by himself. Going to make him do it the hard way. And Daniel not going to go down there and help his teammate out either. He might try to sniff on that high side, get a run here. Can he get to the outside of Dwayne MacArthur? No, he's going to check up out of the throttle. But look at Josh Robinson. Big run. Shoving the 51 down that back stretch. Boy, oh boy, Jerry Isaacs probably felt like a rocket ship there.
Yeah, and those guys are doing really good. I guess from about, 7th on back, they're side by side still trying to get it all sorted out.
Yeah, Tom Ogle's
the first one, yeah.
Yeah, leading that high side charge here. He did not back out going through the tunnel turn. He stuck it in there side by side. Now he's going to have a big run. Does he counter underneath? Let's see. He takes a little bit of a peek. Oh, we see a car go around. 2 cars. Go. Can Crisco keep it off the wall? He does. Or Hislop, excuse me. Keep wanting to call him Crisco tonight. They both have that red and white car. With James Hislop, and I believe that was the 93 of Martindale. And Martindale, you know, the car's still straight, but John, that's going to be, and this isn't Martindale's fault. I don't want to say. I didn't really get a good look at it yet, but he's got to be close to the incident limit. That's my point.
It looked like Hislop, or not Hislop. Yeah, Hislop got a little bit of a push coming out of that corner and got into the back corner there. You know, and it doesn't take much. As you're coming out of those corners, you could probably use your hand to push your car around. So, I mean, it does not take a lot right there to get a car turned around.
No, definitely not. Like I say, the Martindale there, you got to wonder he's going to be close to that incident point limit with 2 spins, and we got a long way to go. So Martindale has to play nice here, and that's not going to be easy to do. Lots and lots of time left. And you got to think we're not going to be going green the rest of the way here. So do we feel confident, John, in pulling a guy up yet, or do we want to let him drive around?
Well, let me give them a second here and make sure that they, because I feel bad somebody's going to, because pit stops are so important. We talk about it every week. And even if we, yakking at them, take a 10th off of their, pit time between getting to their pit box or out, that could be a couple, 2-3 spots. I don't want to do that to somebody.
No, and we've seen how difficult it can be to pass. So you want to say, we make a guy lose 3/10 in the pits. That could be 4 seconds on the racetrack by the time they complete the pass. So definitely. Not
and the nice thing is, caution laps take a little while here at this big 2.5 mile track. So you know what? We're gonna have time to talk to people all night here.
Well, hopefully not here. We're gonna get that green flag run. I'm telling you, we're gonna get it.
Well, and we saw this last week too. We saw a lot of cautions toward the, for these guys, a lot of cautions early on, and then they settled in and got that long green flag run at the end there. But I think this is just chalking up to the new model, maybe not just a little bit of unpredictability and then it's so easy to overdrive or push or things like that. So I think these guys are still learning.
Let's see here. Do we get any gamesmanship? We do see MacArthur pull down. Nah, he's bluffing again. No pit road here. Let's go ahead. You haven't talked to Bob Fellenbaum, I don't think, much this year, John. You want to ask him the first question?
I am about to have a packet loss.
Well, hey, I got him here. Hey, Bob, Shaggy in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, hey, Bob, right now running inside the top 10 at a real difficult racetrack. I mean, you feeling confident? And what can we expect from you the rest of the night?
Well, this is typically one of my best tracks. I love this track. I do not like this car here. It just doesn't feel responsive at all. Feels like it's up on top of the track, and I'm struggling.
Well, is there anything you can do on the fly? I know these are fixed setups, and brake bias not going to do too much for you, but can you manipulate it here and there to try to get you some more grip, or you kind of just run what you brung, got to figure it out here?
Yeah, you just got to figure it out. I found you can steer the car a little bit with the throttle, but that comes at the expense of tires. So, just trying to figure out what I can do, what I can't do, save tires, be there at the end, see what happens.
Well, hey, Bob, before I send you back here, what's the lucky number? What number do you have to get to here to one-stop this thing?
I'd probably want to go no later than 50.
All right. Well, hey, Bob, we'll be rooting for you, man. Go park that thing on the podium. Give those boys heck up front.
I would love to. Thanks.
Bob Fellenbaum driving that 38 machine, looking good right now, but definitely not most comfortable with the race car. I think I get from that, but plenty of time here to figure it out. And with all that's going on around us, you may just need to ride. We may see that caution bug hit the front here because they're playing nice, these top guys up front. But before you know it, we're going to be at that halfway mark, and tempers might start to flare as the drivers.
Zach, I am back in too, by the way.
Okay, cool.
You still got me?
I didn't know. Yes, sir.
All right, good. Yep, kicked me out and brought me back in here. So, I want to just talk about what Fellenbaum said there and not being comfortable with the car. That's a tough way to drive. And you know what, Zach? That's a tougher way to race. You don't want to get around somebody because you're not comfortable with the car. That's almost like, somebody takes and handcuffs one arm behind your back while you drive.
No, it really does because, that's not to focus on that or anything. We've all been there. But, man, when you come up here and you're openly talking about it, you know that you're thinking about it, when you're in the race car. So not going to enable him to probably do his best here tonight. But right now it doesn't need it. He's looking pretty good. And I don't know, John, we haven't really – I don't want to put this on the guys – but, we haven't really ever all season seen tempers flare up front. at a difficult racetrack to pass at. Could this be the one where, maybe the guy running 4th place lucks into one tonight?
Yeah, but I don't know if it'll be with tempers. These guys keep that stuff in check in this league. So, but you know what? Yeah, getting down to it, and most of these guys up front here have wins. So you know what? They can throw caution to the wind and try to snag another victory and get more points there.
Yeah, that's kind of the angle I'm taking too. I mean, those guys up front, they're all good enough friends. I think that if they wreck going for their 3rd and 4th wins, they'd probably laugh about it. But we'll have to see. Plenty of time to go. And another interesting note, John, lap 50, he thinks, to go the rest of the way. So that's a while. I mean, we have had some cautions, but we're back underway here. Good jump for Dwayne MacArthur. He maybe went a little earlier even than our leader. He is all over the back of Daniel Hill. Does he maybe think about looking to the outside here? Daniel going to block him off. Smart thinking from the 7. That was an impressive move from Dwayne, but might be the move he needed to make as he had to fall in line.
Mark Fish overdrove turn 1, probably a pretty good margin, and that's about the closest call I've ever seen anybody do. You see this. We talked about other folks talking about, you can't overdrive, and almost every restart I'm watching guys overdrive the corners. That last caution was a guy overdriving the corners. They are all struggling hitting those marks.
And you got to wonder how much of that has to do with, maybe getting the tire hot, cooling off, getting the tire hot, cooling off.
Yeah.
Just kind of forgetting and not having that normality with the car that you're used to.
And we've had a couple of cautions here. So you know what? You've got a couple of heat cycles into the car, into the tires. That can harden the tires and give you even less grip.
Tom Ogle there getting to the outside of Bob Fellenbaum. Can he complete the pass? Doing it on the high side. So I think the way you want to get it done, he should have this run off of 1, be able to go down and shut the door into the tunnel turn if he'd like to. It's going to be a close battle. He did clear him. He can shut the door. Fellenbaum going to fall in line here, hold on to that final spot in the top 10. And now the next one's going to be tough here for Tom Ogle. It's that 104 of Andrew Medlin, who has absolutely been on the move here tonight at Pocono, sitting in P8. Just behind, we were watching the 9 of Brian Lynch. That thing, he's pretty quick too. The Hooters machine looking good. I love those white paint jobs. There's just something about a white, clean car, that nice, bright hunting orange. Oh, that's a race car.
Trying to figure out what I think my car. Well, I like my cars to be. I like them to be fast, but yeah, I think I like black.
Yeah, I normally, I'm the problem with that. I like the car to be fast too, but then the driver can't. Every race car I ever drove in real life, I had 3. They were all red, and I always had the red Rockets. That was always.
I had a neon green Coolray car for a long time, and that's been probably my favorite, actually, if I'm really honest about it. That car looked fast, and they're usually pretty fast, So I'll go with that black and neon green.
And Dad took a peek under sun, but didn't have the run coming out of the corner, and now that allows James Hislop to take a peek under him. Can James get the pass done here as he enters 1? Yeah, the boss man didn't look like he was going to put up a fight there, John, but then he picked up the throttle. He's coming back with a full head of steam. He's going to be able to hold this one off, I think.
Yeah, he overdrove the entry just a slight bit, and but he's able to recover mid-corner. Yeah, he got a really nice run coming out of turn 1 there. Oh, he overdrove it again. This one's going to cost him.
Yeah, big time there. As you see, Hislop gets him. Worsdell going to take a peek. Here comes the Daytona 500 winner, Mark Fish. He can't get there. He's going to back it up. Didn't want to overdrive again there, John, playing it smart. That's not the guy you want to overdrive into, I don't think. We call him the boss man for a reason. Not that, Victor, he gets no special treatment at all, but I think, that's the last guy you want to have the bullseye on.
Yeah.
Tom Ogle now, look, he thought about taking a peek under Medlin, and Medlin, it looked like he got a piece of the outside wall there coming out of one. Didn't look too bad, but John, if you're pushing already, they said the magic number was lap 50. That's 15 more laps. You better behave here. You got a long way to go if you set this set of tires.
Yeah, you do, and don't be fooled by only having 3 corners. You got just as much tire wear as if we had 4.
Yeah, especially I would say, you mentioned how you're kind of on the razor's edge there through the tunnel turn. The stress that you put on those right side tires there when you're hitting the line perfect, it's unlike any other here. As Luke Lane taking a peek under that 43 machine of Kelvin Mosier. Mosier's got the preferred line, I would say, here as he enters one. If he doesn't overdrive, should be able to pick back up the throttle, but he's pretty up there, John. He gets close to that wall. Maybe he had to back out a little bit. It's still a good enough run. Luke Lane's going to have to fall back in line.
Yeah, and Luke, you know what? I've got to tip my hat to him. We talked a little bit earlier about his downfall, running hard really early in a run and using up that car a little bit. But I've seen some patience out of him here tonight. And, it's paying off. He's got himself back up to 18th. He did start towards the back, and he's steadily climbed.
Right off the nose there, that code red machine. You can see after the pass, that's how much momentum you can lose, John. It's gonna take him 2 laps probably to get to the back of Mosier. So you got to be smart when you when I say 2 laps. Look at that big send. He drives that thing in there. Can't pick up the throttle as early as those guys can. See him kind of walk away. And well, John, this isn't a staff here at Luke, but I don't know if I like what I see here. You want to run that guy down in front of you, but we always mention, man, in like a lamb, out like a lion. When you're driving in that hard, you're putting a lot of stress on that right front.
Yeah, this is a track that, I know this is cliche, but you really should be racing the track. If opportunity gets around the guy, you take the opportunity, but you really got to focus on your marks here. Like I said, you miss one of these corner entry where you turn in your lift points, you miss it by 50 feet. It just absolutely kills your lap and can cost you.
Tom Ogle still stuck behind that 4-car pack. Medlin on the inside.
Yeah, McDaniel and then Robinson too.
That's Clay Walker in the 2 machine. We've seen some good runs out of that green car so far this season. Now Ogle, though, with that big run, Johnny finally gets by Medlin. And now if you're Andrew Medlin, the legend of Tom Ogle, it's got to go throughout this league. That guy, he's phenomenal, drives hard, drives clean. You maybe try to attach yourself to this rear bumper and follow this 11 around the racetrack.
Yeah, he's doing an outstanding job. He's been patient. We talk about that. He had that pit stop that cost him several positions, but, he's been very methodical and moving back up here a little bit.
Now, it's not a huge advantage either. But
like a place. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. We did have a quick battle there, but looked like Courtney kind of had to lift out there, couldn't complete it. Now Jerry Isaacs reeling him in as he's close to a battle for third. But, John, not a bunch of lap difference, but I did notice there Ryan had James Hislop on the camera. Now, he was involved in that spin. He's got 8 lap fresher tires, and it looks like he's kind of taking advantage of it. He had to check up there. You see he was racing with Luke Lane. Now they're 3 wide as Worsdale takes a peek on the bottom. But we are seeing a little help here with the new tires.
Yeah, and it might be beneficial to keep us set in the pits here. If we get a little bit of a run, let's say a caution, 15 laps to go, you might want that extra set, especially if you're sitting around 10th or so. I don't think you lose a whole lot coming to the pits and getting some fresh sleepers.
Man, Jerry Isaacs almost tried to make that pass for third work as Courtney Nelson drove it in low into 1, thinking about making a move for second. But it ended up messing up that corner exit. I'm telling you, Jerry Isaacs, man, he is right there. Might have hurt us, John. This could be the night. He's there.
Yeah, and it's when you're that close to the front and you feel like you got a good car, oh man, you know what? It's on some level it's hard to be patient because you just want to go get it. On the other hand, you know, you don't get cars that often where you can put everything together and just feel, you know, great everywhere on a track and what you're doing. It makes racing a lot of fun when all those things fall into place.
Now, right now, you know, MacArthur in that group, they are still within a second of Daniel, so they're going to get a little bit of draft, John, but it's starting to extend. It is almost at that full second. Are you starting to panic maybe if you're Courtney Nelson, Jerry Isaacs? You want to stay within the draft of the leaders. That's why we're seeing these guys start to push.
Yeah, I do, and I think it's, you know, I think the rubber is starting to kind of wear a little bit, and then you talk about not being in that clean air. Well, you know, if you're losing grip, and then you take even more grip away by, you know, having somebody on the nose of your car, yeah, the car can become a handful. But wow, they're dancing around. I'm watching the back end of both of the 78 and the 83, the last couple of turns, just dancing everywhere, and I think Isaac's got to run.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to bluff him into going down to block the basement there so he could go upstairs. But I think Courtney knows you probably want to defend there, that middle high. And he's going to take a peek here, and this could be what Isaacs needs. If he gets a good run off of 2 and Nelson has to lift out, well, he got a pretty good run and he's not able to go up and get some side draft. But he's starting to make it work, John. He is right there. I mean, MacArthur's got to feel the heat.
Oh, 100%. And MacArthur's doing a great job of just looking forward and hitting his marks.
Now you see Nelson got in the throttle a little bit earlier through the tunnel turn. He drives it in deep. We get a little bit. Oh, I thought we were going to get a slide job. Oh, we're going to get one. He slides up the racetrack, John.
Watch Isaacs here. Watch Isaacs here.
Yeah, now Isaacs, he's going to be shot out of a cannon here. He's got to slow
them. That slowed both those guys down.
Gotta go up if you're Isaacs. Try to get some side draft. I don't think he got close enough. We'll be able to complete the pass for third. Not just yet. MacArthur gonna hold him off for the time being. But Isaac's not going away. Gonna float up close to that quarter panel. Try to get some side draft, but just can't find it. Gonna have to fall back in line.
Oh, that's disappointing for Isaacs there, because both those guys, when they did that slide job, you have both of the 2 guys in front of him lose a lot of momentum coming out of that corner. Just wasn't quite close enough to capitalize.
Now Courtney Nelson in P2. We're kind of seeing that lead shrink a little bit, John, down to almost the half a second mark. Here
Isaacs has got another run.
And yes, you're right. Look at Isaacs trying to take a peek here. He goes
way from him. He doesn't want MacArthur to get that side draft, but I think that hurt Isaacs.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we saw
MacArthur went way up the track here. Isaacs has got to get this pass done.
If he can, there we go. A little bit of a slide job, John. I love it. I love it. Sliding up, cutting off the momentum. That's what you got to do. I mean, you feel like you got the pace. You can't get stuck in line. You got to go. And Isaacs moves himself up in the final.
And look how much ground Courtney has made on Courtney Nelson's made on the leader Hill.
Yeah, that was almost at a second. It's cut down to nearly half a second. I mean, Courtney is reeling them in. It seems like Daniel got.
And Isaacs is reeling them both in.
We're on lap 45 right now. We're 6 laps away from that magic 50 number that could probably get us the rest of the way. That being said, John, do we think about short pit maybe being the first guy to come down pit road? Or do you need the fresh tires at the end?
Nah, I would go a little bit further here. There's no real danger of falling a lap down or anything like that. So I would probably run it just a little bit long here.
Clay Walker gets back up in line, tries to get beyond McDaniel. As you see Worsdale try to take a peek under Bill Martin. Not close enough. That Viagra machine got to fall back in line. Bill Martin can hold on for now. Looked like he overdrove the center a little bit. Maybe had the lift. Here come Worsdale one more time. Can't get the run here to shoot it in on the bottom of 3. But we do have a battle here for 6th as Clay Walker takes a peek under Greg McDaniel. Where do you go, Tom Ogle? Tom's going to stay up high here, help out the one of Greg McDaniel, and maybe is he thinking, John, can I get a 2-for-1 special here if I get a good run out of 1?
That's exactly what he's thinking. Get a good run out of 1 here, and you do that on the top side.
Going to be able to get to the outside here. The deuce of Clay Walker. Not going to be able to get around him here, but he's going to sail it in up top. Try to hold that 2 down. Actually, John gave him plenty of room here. And Tom still with the power to complete the move off of 2.
Yeah, but the 2 comes right back, drives her in a little deep here over in turn 3, but you're going to watch that 11 just drive down that front stretch. Unless the 1 goes down and helps the number 2 to pull him, but nope. Medlin is trying to stick his nose in there to get to the outside of the 2.
Yeah, he was. It looked like he was scraping paint there, going down the front stretch. He wanted to fit that thing upstairs. Can he do it this time?
Yeah, because now the 2, he doesn't have anywhere to get in line. The 3 on the outside or nose to tail.
You can see him push up the racetrack, though, there, coming off the 2. Touch that wall a little bit. Now Clay, if he burps that throttle, there he does. He gets in line. Medlin going to give him a little bump. Maybe he didn't like that, but boy, oh boy, they hold on. We still got plenty of time to play here. That was a big aggressive move for Walker.
Yeah, that was really, really defensive. And Walker is coming right back here, and he's got back around Ogle here coming off the corner. Ogle gets loose coming out of the corner. Look at Walker. You know, he's going to maybe get to the inside here of McDaniel.
Yes, he is. And that, truthfully, probably is the first big power move we saw on the bottom, John, coming out of 3. I mean, he stayed even with those guys momentum-wise. Now he's going to pick up that throttle. It looks like he is the tire whisperer here, John. So much grip here this late into the run on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, they're dead heat down that backstretch here, and we're going to get back over here into the tunnel turn again.
Clay going to send it in here. What can McDaniel do? Tries to keep the fender to the top shelf. You see that 11 of Tom Ogle squirreling all over the place. He has his hands full right now on that purple machine as he watches the best battle on the racetrack. Clay Walker completes the pass, and I think Greg McDaniel kind of saw that little gap, John, and said, just go ahead.
Yeah, and live to fight another day, and sometimes that honestly is your best option.
So we're kind of single. Oh, now we see the 59 there. There we go. Make a move. That's Sean Foltz. He's taking a peek under, I believe, Bob Fellenbaum. Spoke to him earlier, driver of the 38. Still hanging around the top 10, currently 11. Decent run there for Fellenbaum, but Sean Foltz, he knows, man. He knows what it's like to win. He wants to get up here and taste it again, but he's got a long way to go. John, they're about 8 seconds off the leader here, the guys we're watching, so definitely going to need maybe a caution or a real fast green flag pit stop to make up some time.
Yeah, and I think that's why these guys are fighting so hard too. Is pit stops are probably coming up here in the next few laps, and you might as well just use them up. And you're only going to have to make a stop here in just a couple laps, so there won't be a big penalty for angering those tires too much. Oh, Ogle! Boy, McDaniel just cut Tom Ogle a huge break.
Yeah, and look at Kelvin Mosier. He's going to get them all here. Or not Mosier, excuse me, Andrew Medlin on the outside of that 104. He got a 3-for-1 there. I mean, you might pick him up when you can.
Yeah, I think Ogle owes McDaniel a pretty nice Christmas card. Maybe stacked with a little bit extra, stashed a little extra in them. Wow. But that's a good thing to see that though. That's the
first guy coming down pit road. Bob Fellenbaum hitting pit road. John, he was the one who told us lap 50. He's sticking true.
Yep, working his strategy.
Well, Bob Fellenbaum, the first domino to fall here. When's the next guy going to come down pit road? I was just about to say, John, you got to think that 11, the way that car is handling, is going to be one of the earlier drivers to hit pit road.
Yeah, especially that the leaders now are pretty much a quarter of a mile up the road. Maybe in a half a mile up the road. I mean, they're quite a way. This group has fallen way back.
Yeah, definitely kind of in their own little battle here for around 6 through, I want to say, 12th. I mean, there's a little bit of a gap between all of them, but that's kind of the area code they're in. I mean, Walker trying to excuse himself from that. He's got about a second up from that group since he got that 2-car around. You can see him there in that green machine. John, I think Clay, with this tire wear we've seen from him, he may be a guy keep your eye out on if he has a good green flag pit stop.
Yeah, and this is they're getting a pit road. You know what? I know this is an easier pit road to get on, but you know what? You can still make a mistake. You can still, speed and that kind of stuff. So you got to make sure, because this has got the look of maybe running out green. You do not want to make a pit mistake here. Overshoot your pit box, all kinds of things.
No, and I think you nailed that on the head, John, because it is one of the easier pit roads we'll see all season, but I think that's what makes it hard. Drivers try to go a little too quick, They're like, well, this is so easy, and then they get up there, and they're like, whoops, going too fast. I mean, you get that flat runoff there. It's enticing to try to go as quick as you can into pit road.
Yeah, and to top it off, that set of pit stops under that caution, we saw a couple, 2, 3, 4 drivers overshoot their pits and cost them 3 or 4 spots just on pit road. That's with everybody bunched up. You do something like that now, you're going to lose, like I said, a quarter of a mile on the track.
See there, the 39 machine, or 35, of Wayne Hufford battling with the 59 of Sean Foltz. Foltz looked like he was going to get it done there through one, but just didn't have the run off the top shelf there door to door. But look at the 35. I mean,
Good
big
run
time
on
from Wayne Hufford. Yeah, that's a big time run through the tunnel turn. Going to hold off the pass for now. Inch closer here. Daniel Hill coming to lap 54. Still Bob Fellenbaum, from what I've seen, the only taker down.
McDaniel's coming in.
Greg McDaniel, John, there we go. Tell you what, man, it seems like if we've interviewed you tonight, maybe we've, enticed you to pit early. I don't know if that's good or bad from us here, John.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot who it was said that, probably they're 5 or 6 laps to the good, to make it one more pit stop. So, you have to feel that, those pit stops, I think everybody's going to come in wholesale next lap, maybe 2, 3 tops.
No, and I mean, we haven't seen one yet this season, so maybe go with do theory. I think the importance of, being 5, 6 laps to the good, John. What if we get a green-white checker? Those guys, maybe Bob Fellenbaum, might be a little short. Here come our leaders down pit road. Both the front two. Here comes Daniel Hill and Courtney Nelson.
35's in 2.
Now, Jerry Isaacs inherits the lead. He's got MacArthur behind him, but this is interesting here. Gotta nail this. If you're Daniel Hill, I mean, he has been the dominant car tonight. Let's see. Got to get in and out of your box. He comes to a stop, looks good, doesn't have to reverse, and well, Daniel is going to try to get that thing out as quick as he can.
I think Hill got into the pit box better than what Courtney did. I think there'll be some separation here when they exit pit road.
Here we go. They both dropped the hammer, and you said it, John. I mean, Daniel, he's got a little bit of a speed burst, too, because he's got to go farther. There already has a little more speed just pulling away from Courtney Nelson. Yep. Now, Jerry Isaacs, if you were wondering, your leader, it just crossed the start-finish line. He's entering one, so you can, if you're a leader here, if we would get a caution, John, right now, I think that would be the best thing for the guys that have already pit. They'll stay out on the racetrack and won't be allowed down. So that's we normally don't come to big racetracks, but that is another angle to play here. I mean, Jerry, even if he has good tire wear, is comfortable with staying out late, a caution here absolutely kills that strategy. I mean, he is going to be behind. I'd say we've had close to 10 cars come down pit road so far, John. So that's a long list of cars to be behind here. You don't want to get caught out.
No, you really don't. And, as much as these cars are dancing around, I got a feeling these guys are just really wanting to make that turn down pit road.
You can see Dwayne MacArthur. Now, we don't know if it was maybe staying out an extra lap or not, John, but he definitely lost time to those front two. I mean, not as in and out of the pits as quickly as the 7 of Daniel Hill. Is here we got another taker. I believe that's the 12 of Andy Thomas. It is, as I get confirmation. Andy Thomas, that's normally a guy I normally spotlight that Navy car a couple times, but he's had a quiet race, and I would say if 3 cautions quiet, pretty good so far at the halfway point, John.
Yeah, 100% here, but I would have to think the leaders now. I'm surprised that they've stayed out this long because they are going to have, lose some time here. I'm a little worried where they come out, Isaacs and Robinson.
They stay out one more time here. I'm right there with you, John. I'm shaking in my boots for the boys. I mean, that's a long way to try to go. Here comes Andrew Medlin and Tom Ogle. They hit pit road, so they said enough's enough.
And Zach, real quick, if you look at their lap times, Isaac ran a 55.12, and before that he ran a 54.90. I forget what it was. You could flip over and you look at the qualifying times. You're only losing a half second. We're used to seeing tire fall off where you're losing a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap. You're not having issues here with the drop off. And yeah, I hear Tom Ogle just missed his pit box. That's big.
Yes, it is, and I'm not sure what happened to Jerry Isaacs here, but he must have had some hiccup. Ryan caught up to it. Here's Josh Robinson. That is the battle for the lead. Neither of those guys have come down pit road. Jerry Isaacs, yep, he's going to come down pit road. Defending champion inherits the lead. He gets his bonus point for leading the lap. We'll have to see how far off the pace Jerry Isaacs is here, John. I mean, he was pretty close to those front two. He was within about a second and a half, I want to say, when the pit stops were made.
Yeah, but he's got to get in and out of his box here cleanly, or he gets into the box cleanly, so that you can check that box. Now he just needs to get off pit road without speeding or anything like that.
Now, John, it's something we haven't really seen much this season, but I do know when I was racing, okay, if I would go about 40 laps this week, when I would come down pit road, my left side tires, John, they were still in the 90s. Is there any thought of a 2-tire pit stop for anybody tonight?
Maybe. I think it's possible, if you've looked after your tires, but I'd be real nervous about doing it. We're still, 25 laps to go here almost. That's a long time.
Speaking of a long time, there's a long distance now between Jerry Isaacs, Dwayne MacArthur, and Daniel Hill. That is, Jerry may be kicking himself here if the new tires don't pay off those last couple laps. That's going to hurt him, I think.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, we do get a caution, and I think if you do, and you're these leaders, you stay out. That extra couple, 2-3 laps, it's going to pay dividends if we do get a late caution.
I'll tell you what, I just watched it. Josh Robinson, 2 right side tires, John. I knew somebody was going to try it. Okay, here he goes.
And what do we like to say? That's Josh doing Josh things, and that's definitely going to improve his standing here.
Yeah, I mean, he's right behind the leaders now, so you would want to say that. The other side tires, John, we're going to say that saved about 5 seconds, maybe 6 seconds. So we'll have to see what how the handling is of the race car, but he's going 2 tires.
Yeah, what's funny is he already knows if he made a mistake or not because, you can find out what your tire wear was like after that pit stop. And if he doesn't see a number he likes, he already knows he's in trouble. But I'm going to bet he's probably practiced this or actually basing this. I don't think he's guessing. I think he's probably got some knowledge that this was doable.
Yeah, like I say, when I ran some officials this week, I was kind of shocked by it when I would come down pit road. I never had the cojones, as they say, to do the 2-tire stop, even with the information. Felt like with my talent, I needed the 4, but Josh Robinson and me, John, I don't think we're in the same category. So we'll have to see what he can do with that race car. As you're watching Bill Martin, he's the man out front. Diet Mountain Dew leading the way. Lee Worsdale right behind him running P2, but they have yet to make their pit stops here. They're going to keep on rolling. And, John, I know it is nice to lead these laps, but, man, I think this is only hurting you in the long run. Even if we get a caution, I think those guys who have stopped, they're going to stay out.
Yeah, but, you know, Josh is notorious for, you know, going back to Robinson, Josh is notorious for taking it easy and not using his stuff up. But I'll be honest with you, at least once through the night, you see him run the leaders down, and he shows speed somewhere in the night. I don't know that we've seen the pace out of that 23 car that we've seen out of Courtney Nelson and Dan Hill.
You know, we were talking about lap times earlier, John, and how there's not much of a fall off. So Josh Robinson, ask me what his fastest lap is. I'll tell you, 54.64. What lap did he just run last time by? A 54.66. So the two tires doing Mr. Robinson just fine here, John.
Yeah, considering that pole position was 54.56. So, yeah, that's really not that much of a difference.
No, and Daniel last time by a 54.74. So though it's only a tenth, I mean, he can see himself digging away here with that shovel. Jerry Isaacs making the move there on Dwayne MacArthur. But Isaacs, he's got a long way to go. I want to say he's almost 5 seconds off the back of the defending champion there as he's crossing the start-finish line now while the defending champion getting ready to enter turn 1. So it's a big boy gap here.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm watching just with the eyeball test here. The 23 is running down the leaders. Ran a 54.59 that last lap. Pole was a 54.56. Two tires was not a problem.
Absolutely unbelievable the pace this man shows us and how he just defies the odds. And John, I know you mentioned at the beginning, we have only been on this tire model for 2 weeks, and to be able to kind of come out here and be a step ahead of everyone else, very impressive here. As well, Ryan, I know they haven't pit yet, but the battle for the lead is kind of heating up. Worsdale all over the back of Bill Martin here as we enter turn 3. That's not turn 3, that's turn 2. Wrong camera angle for me here, but Josh Robinson trying to work that thing on up underneath, and you can see him just inching closer. I mean, John, sometimes the defending champion, all he needs is that little carrot dangling off the windshield, and man, he just finds speed. But here come Bill Martin and Lee Worsdale. Couldn't stay out any longer, going to lose the lead. As Daniel Hill and Courtney Nelson work under Chris Bates, we saw him involved. He had a lot of contact on that 81. That's why that thing is.
I'm amazed that 81 car is even out there still.
No, and that's, you know, I do want to highlight Bates for that because this is no fun what he's doing, but he's got it 27. He's just hanging out. You never know what could happen.
Points are points.
Exactly. I mean, we see something happen with a couple laps to go. You never know. You pick up a couple of spots. So that's a good job there by Chris Bates, you know, to keep the helmet on when it hasn't gone your way. And, well, John, he had nothing to do with it. Tom Ogle there in that purple machine. He's trying to take a peek under Bob Fellenbaum. Couldn't do it. Going to hop back in line. That's Greg McDaniel right up the road in front of them. And I believe right behind him, that's a James Hislop sighting. This has been an eventful race for him. So the fact that he's still hanging around near that top 10, good run here for James Hislop. Is Alan Wanamaker, interesting. John still has not pit since lap 28. He's hanging out in the top 4. But, man, it's going to be cut short here soon, I think, unless he is some gas whisperer. Knows a trick that nobody else knows about here.
Yeah, and just to update the lead there up there, you know, Robinson was closing in, and that gap is starting to widen back out a little bit.
Yes, it has.
The two leaders are working together and using the draft, I think, to get some separation. I'm going to guess that in the back of their mind now, I'll call it. You know what? They're probably going to work together until about lap 80, and then all bets come off. They're going to try to get a big enough gap. At least this is what I would be doing. Try to get a big enough gap where they can just settle it out between the two of them.
Yeah, John, because, I mean, we've seen so many times, you know, you try to throw that slide job or you come up in front of that guy. I mean, how much time do you lose? Josh could reel them in no time, so definitely smart to build that up to almost a 2-second gap here. That should give them plenty of play time. Like you said, about 5 to go.
Yeah, and I think Robinson just found something because he chipped away a little bit that particular lap. So he tried a different line going through 1 and 2, and I think it made a big difference. He had a really nice run out of turn 2. So yeah, we'll keep a tab on the leaders. You know, there's a lot of other things going on this big old track, but man, you know, top 3. I think this is we're getting down to it. Pay windows starting to open here.
You got that 12 of Andy Thomas leading the way there. Victor Lane and Bill Martin. Bill Martin, we saw him stay out a real long time, John, and maybe reaping the benefits. Now, Bill Martin drove by the boss man like he was absolutely sitting still. Lots of grip for that Diet Mountain Dew machine. I just don't know. I mean, 18 laps, you're going to be able to dent into that a little bit, but maybe stayed out a little too long as Clay Walker makes the move here under Alan Wanamaker. Still out there, hasn't made his pit stop.
That's a long way to go. I wonder if he came in and topped. He must have come in and topped off on one of those subsequent yellows.
Lap 28. Lap 28.
I don't know that he can go much further now.
No, he is. That fuel pump is screaming here, going through these corners, trying to suck up that fuel. I guarantee it. But and Courtney Nelson and Daniel Hill, they've got that gap now to almost 2.5 seconds. I know you said 5 to go, John, but is that enough time? Does Courtney now, with this gap, maybe make the move a little earlier?
No, you don't want to give the other guy to you know, give him an opportunity to get back by you. If you ideally you want to make the pass, and it's kind of like, you know, think of a football analogy here. You know what? If you're an opposing team and you march down, and you score a touchdown, but you leave 4 minutes on the clock to a Tom Brady, you're probably in trouble. You need to run that clock down before you hit that score that final touchdown before you give the ball back.
Whoa. Courtney Nelson, oh man, he used up every bit of that right rear. You saw the dust fly coming off of 1, kissed that wall. And now Daniel maybe overdrives the tunnel turn here. John, can Courtney get a run? No. That was close there. I mean, Daniel, he did tell us he's going to leave that bottom open. You know, he'll invite you down there, but he's going to shut it. Coming off the corner, needs that high side. Man, oh man, Courtney just so close, but you know Daniel's going to make him work for it.
Yeah, and you know, what I've seen here, there were some really good passes, and the easiest looking passes that I've seen today have happened over in turn 3, where guys are setting guys up coming out of the tunnel turn right through here, turn 2, and then they set the guy in front of them up to get around them in turn 3. You know, I think maybe that's going to be the place that I think I would be trying. My best probably to try to figure out how to set that up. If I'm in Nelson's shoes real quick right now, I'm just trying to dissect where am I better than that 7 car? Where do I think I can get a run and start to kind of force the issue? That's what if I'm that 78, like I said, that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Now, John, I know still enough time here left. If we would get a caution, would you come down pit road and get a new set of tires, or with what you're seeing from lap times, you think, you know, if you're up front, it's kind of you're set in stone at this point?
I think if you're up front, you're set in stone. You know, you're talking minimal drop, you know, so your new set of tires, if they're 10 cars behind you, they're never going to catch you. So I would think if you're anywhere in the top, maybe 7, 8, I think I'd stay out, and anything after that, yeah, I'd go in. I mean, what do you got to lose?
Courtney Nelson there, back up the corner entry to 3, pick up the throttle, try to look for a run underneath. He gets that thing a little sideways. Good catch there for the 78 of Courtney Nelson, and this is where you're going to have a mistake, John. At least he's got that guy in front of him. He can get the draft. He can just suck it right back up.
Yep, and that's, you know, that goes back to what I was saying, just trying little things here, and, you know, that there, I bet you he learned a lot with that little move there that he could apply to a future move to maybe make that work next time.
Greg McDaniel trying to work on the back of Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur, you know, I mean, coming in with an average finish of 3rd here, maybe not what you expected out of the 83. Still a great run, running 8th, but man, the points leader probably wanted a little more than this.
Yeah, well, what kind of season does that tell you you've been having when you're disappointed, you know, running like he's running?
I don't know that feeling, but I'll tell you what, Hislop, he's got a good feeling right now. Lots of speed, looks to the inside of Greg McDaniel. Can he pull up ahead? No. McDaniel going to fight back on the outside. And now he's got the help of MacArthur, a little drafting friend up top. Hislop going to have to pull up to the door here, maybe suck off some side draft. Not going to do it, though. Stays planted on the bottom. McDaniel with a big run up top, looking to get to the outside of Dwayne MacArthur, but maybe overdrove there, John. And here comes Hislop back with another run out of one. Just not enough, though.
Yeah. And Hislop's got to be careful, too, because that 38 is not far behind. If Hislop tries something and it doesn't work out, he might lose that spot to the 38 car.
Yeah, and, you know, another interesting note there, that 38 of Fellenbaum, remember, he's the one who told us lap 50, pit lap 50, so he's on the oldest set of tires out there.
Yeah.
It's still looking pretty good, feels comfortable, and, you know, John, I think when you hit your game plan, you tell someone that's what you want to do, that adds a little confidence and maybe helps the race car handle a little better, too, for you.
You know, when you work your plan, you know, stick to it. I mean, you know, it feels good to do that, but I think right now, I think for Fellenbaum, I think it's actually going to play off kind of nice, though, because I do think he made up enough time, and I don't think he's going to give that much back.
Yeah, so Courtney Nelson, you know, I kind of heard our guy in the back there, the one and only Ryan Seneker, let us know it's about a 3/4 of a second lead, and I went back, I rewind. Courtney Nelson caught Alan Wanamaker at probably the worst time coming through that tunnel turn, and it cost him so much time. He had to lift coming out of the exit. He's trying to reel it back in, but now, John, the pressure's on. It's almost, hey, when I get here, I got to think about making the move.
Yeah, he wants to get back to him. I'm going to bet, you know, lap 80, like I said, that's when I try to get that move and ideally only leave him a lap, maybe two, to maybe mount a counter defense or try to, you know, return, get a return shot at getting the lead back. Hey, McDaniel, or not McDaniel, but Hill looks awful solid. I'm almost, you know, to the point of saying it's going to take a small mistake by Hill. But Nelson has just looked so much quicker than him in the center of the corner here too. So, boy, you know, I guess pick your favorite, make your bets, and we're going to know in about 10 laps.
All right. Yeah, and the battle for the top 5 isn't really set in stone yet either here, John. 4th through 6th. I mean, they are bumper to bumper here going down the front stretch. This is going to be an interesting run here. We saw Isaacs kind of stay out a little later. He should have the fresher set of tires. But Clay Walker and Andrew Medlin have actually run him down working together here. So I have to see if maybe Medlin can get that thing back into the top 5 as I look at my leaderboard. Courtney Nelson has David Hill now back down to 3/10. He is
caution.
Getting there. Caution. Flag wins. This is what I've wanted all season, John. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not afraid. You've basically heard me begging for one.
Sean Foltz here.
Just got a little loose there, loses it. But what a job there, John. You lock that thing up. You don't involve anybody else. You make it your own problem. Good job there for Sean Foltz.
Yeah. And you know what? Sean kept it off the wall, too.
Now, okay, John. Put the hard hat on. What's the first spot here we think we see come down pit road? Maybe around 10? Or is it going to be a little further?
I'm going to say 8 to 10. You know, the thing is here, you don't want to be the last guy on the old tires, because if you do, you're almost guaranteed to sit and duck. But I'm going to say, I'm going to hedge my bets. I'll go 8th to 10th right there, those couple 2-3 spots.
Yeah, I'm going to go
completely wrong.
I'm going to go one ahead just based off looking at Tom Ogle and Dwayne MacArthur. They're 7th, 8th. Those guys have wins. They don't need it. Why not?
That's
you know,
true.
Go out here, try to get another one. This is no shot at them, but they clearly haven't been the fastest race car here tonight. Something that, those guys maybe aren't used to. So go get that rubber advantage, see what you can do. This is going to be fun here. We should have, I'd imagine, 7 laps to go. We go back racing, maybe 6, so not a lot of time.
Keep in mind too, whoever gets tires, they're just not getting new tires, which means more grip. They're not having to put fuel in the car, so not only have they got new tires, they're going to be lighter with new tires, which means they could probably turn some blazing laps. Here we go. Oh, they come in.
Leader
comes in.
Yes, he does. Courtney Nelson stays out.
MacArthur.
Oh, John. Oh, this is what
man.
I've wanted all season. Oh, everything that's happened, throw it out the window. This is going to be extreme.
Yeah,
Bellenbaum. Bill Martin stays out, I believe. Bill Martin does. He's going to be out there.
A handful of them. Oh, this is going to be really tough for the 7 and the 23 and these guys to get all the way back to the leader here. This is going to be really difficult.
And that I was staring at it. That's right side tires from most of the gang here.
Yeah.
Coming out first. You almost had to, and it's even more interesting here. Josh Robinson, that's another 2-tire stop for him. So he must really like that set of left side tires. He's got to leave.
Well, he almost had to take that here. Especially based on what we saw out of him after coming out of the pits. He was running qualifying times, taking right sides earlier. You might as well just do it again. But like I said, though, there is a lot more cars than I would have liked that stayed out if I'm Dan Hill.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you here. Looking like he's going to be starting on the inside of row 4. Arguably right there, John, inside with, he should have a little bit of a grip advantage, but unless he can float
and
that
a weight,
thing to the
and keep in mind a weight advantage too. So those runs for him are going to be bigger. He's going to have more top speed at the end of the straightaways. Yeah. I would not leave to go get a beverage at this point. I think I'd keep it locked here and watch this. Watch how this is going to unfold.
No, and my apologies, Sean Foltz, but at the same time, thank you, Sean, for this. This is what we've needed. I mean, we're gonna get the fireworks show here. We should be doubling up, I think, this time. Yeah, there they go. Just gonna take it easy here now. I think another thing, John, that really helps Mr. Nelson here is that guy on his outside, Dwayne MacArthur. He's definitely always quick. Maybe not the quickest car here tonight, but he is not going to be easy to get around. And that's not somebody who I'd want to have to try to work around. Not that he's not going to, he's not going to rough you up, but I mean, he's always quick. You're going to have to work.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I don't know if Hill is as aggressive as I am, but I'm telling you, when that green flag drops, I'm diving down to the inside to see if I can't get a run right off the bat and look to put them 3 wide, getting into the corner and see if I get a couple of them right there in turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, you almost have to intimidate those guys on the older tires now, really force them into a spot they don't want to be in.
Yeah, not even to be intimidating, but just, the time, he doesn't have time to pick these guys off one-on-one. He's going to have to try to get back up there as quickly as he can. And you want to do it cleanly. I mean, if that opportunity is not there in 1, you got to back out of it and not, wreck people. But yeah, you might not hesitate to put people in some very tight spots.
Yeah, and I think, we're going to see Josh Robinson maybe not hesitate to put Daniel in 1 here if he gets a good jump. I mean, he's starting on the outside. That's going to be
jump to the outside and drive around everybody.
Yes, sir. As the pace car gets ready to pull off, we are in for a 6-lap shootout. Let's do some math here. 15 miles till we hit the checkered flag. Green flag waves. We're back underway. 6 to play. Rough restart there for some of those guys. Daniel Hill already on the back of that Napa machine. He's going to do just what you said, John. Go down to the bottom. Force it 3 wide. You got to take advantage of that new grip, and he's going to try to do it.
Yeah, that 93 spun the tires and just did not go. And that's going to cost Hill a bit of time here, but he's getting it back here pretty quickly. You got Robinson right out to the outside here.
Everybody jockeying there coming off of turn 2. You saw the cars weave and wagging. I mean, it is almost 3 wide here going into the tunnel turn. Look at his lap. Oh, Tom Ogle on the outside. Oh, boy, they are throwing it in there.
Yeah, that inside not going. The Hill, you know, gives Robinson in front of Hill, but coming around, gonna have 5 to go here. They've got to go. They've got to go fast. Get these guys in the next half a lap.
Defending champion Josh Robinson trying to drive it like he stole it here. Look into the inside of Lee Worsdale. Who would have thought? What a maybe a huge strategy move there for Worsdale and Martin. You know, John, we talked about them staying out too long. Well, now they're not really hurting on tires like everybody else. I mean, they were out there so long that still only about 20 laps on their set of tires.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we talked about the lack of fall off here with these tires, and you're seeing it right here. Any other track, Robinson and Hill would have just blown by the field, but not here.
Oh, Bill Martin had to
look
check
at-
up Josh Robinson. Yeah, he had to go down, and now we're 3 wide. Daniel Hill trying to take the trash out on the bottom through 3. They're 3 wide. Can Daniel get the run off the corner? He's got enough. Does he shut the door on Josh Robinson? He can't. Josh has a draft, and boy, oh boy.
So does Hill. Hill's got a push from Medlin.
And this is right now, Courtney Nelson is loving what he's hearing. He is just driving off into the sunset. These guys waging war behind.
Yeah, I think the race is now between MacArthur and Nelson here, because I don't think these guys can get to him here in the 3 laps, but they might be able to get to a podium.
Look at Josh Robinson. He said enough's enough. Us new tires got to work together. He goes down low to try to give Daniel some draft there going down the backstretch, and now going to pull right back in line behind him again. And now who's that taking a peek? That's Andrew Medlin on the outside in the 104. He's going to try to get a little greedy here, go around the outside of Josh Robinson, and all this, John, 3 laps to go. Courtney Nelson half a second up the road off Wayne MacArthur. Daniel Hill.
Battle though, man, this is a good battle.
It really is, and it says a lot about Bill Martin and that late strategy. I would have never thought this Diet Mountain Dew machine.
He overdrove the corner though. Martin overdrove the corner.
But he's going to get some help here from Josh. Josh has nowhere to go but push him now that Medlin's underneath. So now Josh has got to pick a friend here. New friend's Bill Martin. What can Daniel do? He's backing up the corner here to the tunnel turn. Bill drives Medlin, slides up in front of Josh. Josh gets a little bump. Caution black waves. And they are wrecking Mark Fish there in the tunnel turn. I think we may have had 2 wrecks there, boys, but we are going to get our first green-white checker.
Yeah, going back to take a look, it's Roger Hurley and then Mark Fish. Looks like Mark Fish drove away, but oh, it's even ahead of, I think it's Hislop and Mark Fish there coming out of the tunnel turn.
Yeah, Hislop gets a shot there from Fish. I mean, Fish had to run on the bottom, just couldn't check up in time. I don't think that was a super aggressive move there from Fish. Truthfully, he was kind of hooked up along that yellow line and just
overdrove it.
But this is what you didn't want to see, John. Luke Lane, right there. The man 16th in points. That is a big shot, and he is going to lose a lot of hard-earned spots.
Yeah, he had a toe. Or he's back sitting there in the pits right now. So the good news is the caution laps take so long here. You can get a lot of damage repaired under caution, so and not lose a lap. But well,
no,
Hill is going to start. Yeah, Hill is on the outside of row 2 on this restart with those fresh sneakers and that lighter car.
Yeah, that could be a big advantage. Definitely now that we regroup the field here. And, you know, I don't want to rub salt in Luke's wounds here, but we mentioned earlier Bates. John, that's why you stick around. I mean, with that toe, Bates is probably going to get another spot.
And Luke is done. Yeah, Luke is done. He went right back to the pits there, and tough break for Luke Lane. He was actually having a really decent day, you know, and being smart after that early penalty, and You know, he got nothing to hang his head low about. He just we'll come back next week. He'll have to give it another shot.
No, just, you know, cautions breed cautions, as they say. We had went a long way. Guys just trying to get what they can at the end. And, I mean, you kind of expect it here. But light's still on the pace car, John. We're going to go around one more time. And, you know, I mentioned Fellenbaum earlier. That lap 50, he should still be able to make it, but with these green-white checkers here, it's going to push those guys that pitted early.
Well, I think some of those guys made it 40 laps. I think he's probably good to about lap 90 or so, so he should be okay here. Now, if we get a second, well, I don't know if we get one or no, if we only get one shot at this, so he should be okay regardless. These caution laps will help too, but you know, these cautions here at the end, you know, everybody is pushing harder than they have all day. You know, we talk about being on the edge. You're running qualifying laps while racing each other at the end of these deals like this, when it gets down like this, and man, that gets intense from inside the car.
Yes, it does. And I noticed James Hislop. Yep, he just disconnected. So Bates, I noticed he's on pit road just trying to fix that thing every chance he can. But, I mean, add an extra 2 laps. That's going to get 2 more spots for Chris Bates. So congratulations there. You kept the helmet on, plugged away, and earned some what could be valuable points here as we close out the season. Rolling through 3 here. We should see the lights click off on the pace car as we come down the front stretch and past the start-finish line, and we'll get set for what John did mention. I noticed it said it there. We only get 1 shot at a green-white checkered here, so the next flag is going to end the race. Whether it be a caution here on the first lap or whether we have a big pile up on the white flag lap, that's old school NASCAR, we still get to race back to the line. But, man, that was a close call. Couldn't tell who almost wadded it up there coming off of Ford. Tom Embassy. Another close call there for him, but he held it together. Look at that. It's not very often we come down to the end here, and not many cars left. Pocono has not been nice to the drivers here tonight, John. Maybe not the track either that you think of for big pile-ups, but just nowhere to go at these high speeds. A lot of guys have been getting caught up in these wrecks. Get ready to roll down in here. Courtney Nelson, hopefully, is just focused out that front windshield here because, as my partner mentioned not too long ago, Daniel Hill outside of row 2. The betting window is still open. That's who I'd go and throw $20 on here. Let's see if he can get it done from the outside in a while. Since we've seen strategy win a race, and, well, I guess either way here, you stayed out to win or you came in and got those new tires. But if Daniel comes short here, John, hitting in the lead's going to hurt.
Yeah, but I think at least he's going to get a shot at it. You know, if that caution hadn't come out, he wasn't going to get a shot at it. And that probably would have stung a little bit more.
He's definitely going to have his chance here. He needs Dwayne MacArthur to get a good restart. Doesn't want to get tied up behind. He wants to go get a shot here early. Let's see where Courtney drops the hammer. About halfway in the restart zone, and that's a rough start there.
Fellenbaum gets a bad one. Yep.
Inside, and that is what Daniel Hill needed, John.
Yep, he's back into P3, but he's got to make a move. I would think if he's not in P2 by turn 2, he's going to be in trouble.
Daniel Hill feeling the pressure from the outside, able to get up and shut the door. That's important here. He's going to have to go, though. Going to have to absolutely nail this tunnel turn and almost complete this pass, I think, going through 3, John, or he's just not going to have enough time. It's Courtney Nelson right now almost half a second up the road. He is just hitting his marks there in that 78.
Yeah, and Yeah, I think Nelson now, as he comes around here and takes the white flag, all he needs to do is hit his marks at this point.
Daniel Hill going to cut underneath. Here's the white flag waves for your leader, Courtney Nelson. 1 lap to go, 2.5 miles left here at the Pocono Raceway. Daniel can't take a peek there going into 1, just didn't have to run. We've got a wreck. Walker, Bill Martin, we continue. Race is going to roll. I told you, we're racing to the checkered flag here. Daniel Hill, big run for P2. He's going to try to take a peek under Dwayne MacArthur. You got to think, he's not going to have a shot at the lead. Can he at least get second here as we enter the tunnel turn? Side by side. Oh, MacArthur not even going to force it here, John. I think he knows. I got these old tires. I'm happy to bring home a third as we enter turn 3 for the final time. Courtney Nelson looking to take that 5-hour energy machine back to victory lane. Reach up and grab it, Courtney. He wins the 88th lap event here at the Pocono Raceway. Daniel Hill P2 and Dwayne MacArthur rounds out the podium. John, I finally got my green flag checkered. That's what I want. Or green, white checkered, excuse me. That's what I've always wanted.
Yeah, that put a little bit of excitement here at the end of this bad boy, didn't it?
Definitely did. And, well, they got a long way to pace around here, so we probably won't get to see Courtney do any donuts. 2.5 mile slow adventure. We're going to step away here for a couple minutes on the Virtual Grip Network, and we'll be right back with your interviews from your top 3, your rundown here, your features. Stick around. We're back live on the Virtual Grip Network, and man, oh man, spoiler alert, green, white, checkered finish, and it was a good one. And we'll go ahead, we'll bring up this rundown here, the top 10, because there's a guy who I'll highlight there. No, actually, John, I'll make you highlight it because we'll just touch on him now. I want you to talk about Sean Foltz. After that spin out, man, still parked that thing 11th. That's a good run, but Courtney Nelson holds off, gets a big lead on the green-white checkered, enough to hold off Daniel Hill, who fought his way up to P2. Dwayne MacArthur rounds out the podium. Huge run for Andrew Medlin, up 20 spots, started 24th, coming home P4. Josh Robinson, P5. Wayne Hufford, a guy I told you, keep your eye out on him. He was quick in practice, maybe not the qualifying effort he wanted, coming home 6th. Jerry Isaacs, 7th. Bob Fellenbaum, 8th. Tom Ogle, 9th. And Lee Worsdale rounds out the top 10.
Coming home 11th, and what a great recovery, because Sean Foltz was turned around with just a few laps remaining, and he's able to come back and bring it home 11th. 12th is Tom Massey. Torrance Childs is 13th. Dakota Pischke 14th. Alan Wanamaker comes home 15th. Greg McDaniel, who I think's probably got the hard luck award, got a good run early and got caught up in some accidents a little bit later on there, comes home 16th. Patrick Martindale 17th. Andy Thomas 18th. William Martin 19th, and Victor Lane comes home 20th.
Couldn't exactly tell what happened there on the final white flag lap, but we saw Clay Walker kind of go around on the entry to 1, and he's going to round out the end of the lead lap, coming home 21st. Chris Bates plugged away, got a couple more spots, going to bring home 22nd. 23rd, Roger Hurley. James Hislop, 24th. Mark Fish, 25th. Luke Lane, 26th. And, man, that's not going to help that points situation. Brian Lynch, 27th. Kelvin Mosier, 28th. Mark Morissette, 29th. And Michael Dow rounds out the top 30.
Coming home 31st is going to be Robert Garisco. 32nd, Scott Negus. And 33rd will be Brian Lindsay.
Well, it maybe took a little bit of strategy to get here, John, but we're going to talk to Dwayne MacArthur, the man who came home in P3. I don't have my Discord up, Ryan. Do we got him in here? Yes, we do. Dwayne, Shaggy in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, fellas, I'm here.
Well, Dwayne, I would say, this is no shot at you, but when you come in, you got 5 wins. You've been dominating. An uncharacteristic race for you. You're just kind of hanging out or inside the top 10. What was it about the racetrack, maybe didn't go your way tonight?
It was all between the ears. This tire was confusing. I was under driving most of the race and just couldn't bring myself to push it, I think, the way you need to with this new tire. And yeah, I think that was it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you go in, you decide when everybody else, that second to last caution, 10 to go. You see some guys dive in, you say, I'm going to stay out and get the track position. In hindsight, definitely the move, but were you nervous staying out there on that old rubber?
A little nervous. I was saving a bit in hopes that was going to be the case. Once I came out on the new tires, I struggled on fresh tires, and it was really coming to me on older tires. I think I ran my fastest lap of the race just before that caution, and I thought, well, I'm comfortable with these tires the way they are. So worst comes to worst, at least it's a comfortable finish, even if they run over me and pass me. But I figured it would take them a couple of laps to get up to speed and get some heat in those tires. So.
Well, man, strategy worked out. You bring home another podium. I know you probably want the win, but after a rough race, I'm sure you'll take this podium. Congrats on a good run, Dwayne. Who do you want to thank, brother?
Yeah, just congrats to Court and Trash A Hill. They ran good races there. They were the class of the field. Good to see Courtney get a win on an oval there. Just a big shout out to all the admins that run this league. Her sponsor, YesterYear Racing. My teammates at Last Ditch Racing, there was a bunch of us in there today. We didn't talk a whole lot, but it's nice to have them there and cracking jokes during cautions, things like that, keeping it going. And of course, to you guys for putting on the show.
Well, hey, man, you guys make it easy with the way you race out there. Good, hard, clean. You look good tonight, Dwayne. Congratulations on the P3, man, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Yeah, I hope so. See you guys.
It's Dwayne MacArthur, your P3 finisher. And now, John, I'm going to introduce him this way because I want to find out about it. I did look at the iRacing. The German flag here. Let's figure it out.
Well, I was actually born in Germany, and for 18 years of my life, I was a German and U.S. citizen. So I like to run the German flag kind of as a homage to my my heritage growing up.
That is awesome. I've got German heritage. In fact, I know it's probably not politically correct these days, but yeah, I grew up being my grandfather's little Doomkopf. So, yeah, that's really cool. I've got that same heritage there. But hey, Dan, it was kind of a no-win situation you were in there to take tires at the end there, and it almost paid off for you. What more did you need there to probably have made that work?
Less cars to stay out. If three of them stays out, maybe. But there was six of them out there, and I had to restart on the inside on the initial restart. It's just really hard to pass on the inside, and so I didn't know what to do, and I was sitting there talking to Josh, right as we're coming up to it, it's like I don't know what to do. Like I know that they're going to be fast on old tires if they stay out, but if there's a lot, of people who stay out, then I'm in trouble. And it's just like I didn't know what to do. I just decided to take two because I wasn't going to let anybody else pass me. But it is what it is. It's just this is what the tire model that iRacing has delivered to us.
Yeah, and it didn't help the guy in front of you, I forget who it was, spun their tires on that particular restart and backed you up a little bit. You mentioned taking two. I've got to ask, because your teammate Josh, he took two early in the race, and he was running qualifying times with two tires. Handling-wise, how did two tires feel?
It actually felt a little bit looser, especially like on entry. I had a lot of rear brake dialed in, and so it seemed like it was a little bit freer going in, but it was tighter going off. So it wasn't bad though. I mean, you just have to take what the car gives you, as long as you don't overdrive the grip that's there. I mean, the two tires would pay dividends. You can just, there's enough grip there that you can still run those fast times.
Well, you guys put on a heck of a show there for the end, and next week is one of those kind of wild car races at I know it's is it Echoplex now, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I don't care about Echoplex. I'm calling it Atlanta. So how are you feeling about going to Atlanta?
I like it better than other, the other restrictor plate tracks. I feel like that I like that drafting model a little bit more because there's a little bit more that you can do with the car versus like Talladega and Daytona. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens with the tire model because you definitely in traffic are going to be really tight. So is there going to be fall off? I mean, it's hard to say. Gonna have to run a bunch of races this week to kind of figure it out.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys on the high banks next week. That'll be a great race. Anybody want to give a quick shout out to before I let you go?
As always, everybody over at Team IATA, Josh, Tom, Brian Lynch, Mark Fish. Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Brian Lindsay this week. He got me hooked up with the new headphones. I was having some issues with some headphones, so he gave me a good idea on a new pair to use. And shout out to my wife for letting me do this. Shout out to you guys because you guys are, as I said, phenomenal. The broadcast is amazing. And shout out to all the admins that work hard behind the scenes to keep this thing going because this is a great place to be.
Well said. And best of luck to you next week at Atlanta, and hopefully we can get you one spot better and talk to you there after a win.
Yeah, I hope so because finishing second's starting to get old.
Yeah, you've got quite a few of them this year. So, but you know what? Isn't it good though to, on one hand, to kind of maybe raise your chin up a little bit? When you're disappointed with second, you're having a good year regardless.
Yeah, that's definitely the truth.
All right, my friend. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. You guys have a good week.
Yep, that's Dan Hill, our runner-up, and Courtney Nelson. He played the right pit strategy, and Zach, you've caught up with him.
Yeah, Courtney, Shaggy up in the booth, man. How are we feeling? Clearly this is no shot at you. You could get to the back of Dan. It just seems so hard to pass. But, man, that strategy, that's what you needed. Just needed some clean air.
Yeah, I could get to his bumper. I could kind of get under him, but there was no turn once you get behind somebody, or I was under him. There was no drive off. Car would just slide on throttle. So I knew I needed to get in front of him, and he'd have a hard time even with new tires to get in front of me.
Now, obviously, you do what you got to do there. 10 laps to go. You under caution. You kind of swerve. You make a little bit of a bluff. You act like you're going down pit road. I've got to ask, if Dan stays out, do you come down pit road? Do you do the opposite of what Dan does in that situation?
I was second guessing myself. I told my teammate James when the caution came out that I don't care what Dan's doing, I'm staying out. And then I seen the people behind me turning down, and he turned down, so I twitched and went. It was kind of lucky on my part, because if I would have tried, I was so late, I'd have ended up spinning out and getting a penalty. I would have made pit road anyway, so I was too far down the road.
Well, were you guys surprised? I know, you guys, man, you set the bar so freaking high, Courtney. Your tire fall off basically non-existent throughout the season. I mean, basically only losing about a second at the end of a run. But tonight, you guys were only losing about half a second. Were you surprised by that tire wear? I mean, it looked like you guys had the speed there all night.
I was really surprised, especially when we took off on that after everybody pitted, and then crew chief came in my ear and said we just ran the fastest lap of the race for us. I wasn't expecting that with the old tires, so the tires held on way better than I was expecting them to, for sure.
Well, man, you went out there. You had to earn this one. Most of the gang pitted. I mean, only 5 or 6 cars stayed out, including you. So to be able to hold them off and bring home this checkered flag, Courtney, that is a heck of a run, man. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, bud?
Oh, just good racing with all the guys. You guys in the booth. I watch this back every week, and it's a blast. Victor, everybody, this has been a good season, and finally got some luck coming my way, so just appreciate everything everybody does.
Yeah, man, win number 2 on the season. Congratulations, Courtney. Hopefully we're talking to you next week after Atlanta, bud. Good luck.
All right, you guys enjoy.
Courtney Nelson bringing home the checkered flag, and John, first green-white checkered finish of the season, and it was a good one. Can't wait until we come back to Pocono next season.
Yeah, and you know what, though? Atlanta next week. Man, I'm telling you, that track with that refig and then the restrictor plate in this group, I think you better bring your big boy pants to come and run that race, and I think these guys are going to put on a fantastic show next week, too.
Yeah, and John let us in there perfectly. Let's talk about next week. Let's bring that up. You see, we're at Atlanta next Sunday, 8 o'clock, as always. And, John, I mean, it seemed like Dan kind of hopped on that train as well. Not your typical, restrictor plate track. You're going to see tire wear at Atlanta, and there are things you can do to the race car, kind of help you manipulate the handling a little bit at Atlanta. Can't wait.
Yeah, that trial was really, I think, the difference maker for Atlanta. I think getting through there and you can do a lot of different things and set guys up. But, teamwork, I think, is going to come into play next week. So watch the teams working together.
But, John, coming up next, it looks like Ryan's trying to play it sneaky now. Now it's just saying episode 54, but do we want to give a little sneak peek maybe of what we're talking about on VGN this week?
Absolutely. Our friends over at the BRL have brought dirt back to their league over there. It isn't broadcast yet, but hopefully it will be sooner rather than later. But yeah, they brought dirt back, and I brought a couple of my dirt friends in, and we're going to talk some dirt on there this week. It's a really, really good show. No disrespect to anybody that's put on the show, but I think this is going to be one of the best shows that we've had.
Well, you're definitely going to want to head over there to VGN. Make sure you don't miss the podcast coming out this Tuesday. It'll be out at 9 a.m. So, when you're having lunch, making lunch, might as well put it on, pop it on, listen to it. But on behalf of everyone here at the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series, we'd like to thank you for tuning in and making it this far. I'd like to thank John Hine for always being my guy. The dude in the back, Ryan Seneca, for being the best. And last but not least, all of you, have a good night.